Okay, official welcome. Welcome of the May 2021 Feng Shui Connect. We have a subject today. We're going to talk about the astrology. We'll talk about the Feng Shui, and also would love to share some news and some kind of quite a busy last month that I have. Those who don't know me and who may be joining for the first time, which I know, my name is Aelita Leto. I'm a classically trained Feng Shui practitioner. I live in the Bay Area, in Silicon Valley, in the heart of the Silicon Valley in Los Gatos, but I do serve worldwide. So this has been amazing experience lately for me. Also, thanks to Zoom and thanks to the actually long distance connections that I could consult, and I do consulting also overseas. The latest client right now I have from Bangkok, which is very exciting. Just came back from LA, going back to LA next week. So the traveling, the distance is also one of the parts to walking the land, to visiting the sites, visiting my clients. So if you know anyone, if you know anybody, it doesn't have to be in the Bay Area to seek for the Feng Shui advice. So any questions before we begin? Any comments? This is she will be sharing my screen. It's open. Please share, please comment, ask as you wish.
Just wanted to say happy birthday. I haven't seen you since your birthday.
Thank you, Deborah. I had I'm still celebrating. So those who don't know, yes, not last Sunday before, it was my birthday. It was quite a joyous event, of course, with family and friends. And as a gift to all, I'm going to be going to Hawaii, and it's a women's retreat, as well as I'm a facilitator. That's, I guess the universe is really gifting with the opportunities when you're least expected. So I love it. So it's been fun, but it's also been full of accomplishments that I have to share. And that's going to be, I did finish my master course of the Feng Shui Flying Star course with Howard Choi. That was in itself was 8 or 9 continuous weeks for 3 hours at a time, and a lot of projects, a lot of certain. Had my also presentation for International Feng Shui Association last Friday accomplished. And there will also article in a magazine is going to be published this summer as well. So I'll be happy to share so getting busy, getting recognized is also, I still love what I do. So no matter how the life takes us apart, but I still focus on our clients and new clients, and also coming, existing. So, and one more update. My website has also been updated, partially just to improve the flow for booking. And so if you have noticed any changes, we're still like tweeting things, but a lot of work has been done. And if you recall, why am I doing that? As you remember, earlier this year, what is the Year of Ox about? Year of Ox is about setting the boundaries, setting the base, setting the structure. And for me personally, to continue next decade in a pace on the rate of time, how I do it, it's absolutely is a necessity to have a good structure technologically, and also as a workflow to establish to serve more. So I have looking for the VA as well, the virtual assistant to assist with the projects, just to give some opportunity to consult more. All right, there you go. Screen sharing and okay. Do you see the full screen? I hope you see full screen. Yes. Hopeful. Okay. All right. Working also on my new business card because I ran out of business cards. How about that? This is my basic information. Feel free And the QR code, something new. I think we're going to be all QR'd. So, first of all, a joke. Remember, this year that we have basically in our environment, there's almost none of the fire energy. So how do we generate fire? Fire chi is through joy, through smile. And I'm just keeping my routine and a promise. So every time when I do the presenting, I do want to share a joke. And if you have a joke about Feng Shui, I thought this was hilarious. These two men, just I guess there's the new one. I'm new. How's the Feng Shui here? Obviously, I hope it's very contained and you can do a lot of meditation in such a state. This is my recognition certificate by accomplishing the master class in the Flying Stars with Howard Choi. With Howard Choi has been the teacher since 2010 when I graduated from a Golden Gate School of Feng Shui, and now connecting with a European and the Feng Shui architects in Rome. It's been an amazing program. Those who, if you are initiating or if you are interested in any Feng Shui aspect, this is the future to come. Very, very detail oriented, but also practical, where when we work with other architects and Feng Shui practitioners, it's a tremendous viewpoint. As you know, I'm not focusing on gadgets. I'm not focusing on cures. So this is where the architecture, contracting work, and Feng Shui works really, really well together. As a quick reminder, in our culture, not in our culture, but in Chinese culture, we used to talk about 5 blessings. And 5 blessings, as you know, it represents with the 5 bats. You might know the symbol, I've seen this symbol quite a bit, where the 5 bats are incorporated in the window seals, or sometimes above the door, sometimes in a tea set. I have a China tea set with the 5 blessings and the image of the longevity. And to think back and kind of give you like a meditative note, what are the 5 blessings? What are the 5 things that every human being has kind of wished for? So have a good life, have happiness, blessed, have a long life to enjoy it all, harmony, and peaceful death, peaceful passing. So if all of us kind of in the back in the subconsciousness hold the space for these 5 blessings, we have, I think it's more fulfilled daily experience as a time as we given. One very interesting, I was doing some reading this early morning and from Lao Tzu, and it was talking about and observing water and comparing to a big mountain. And one of the things that was in the reading was water has the only tendency for water is to connect to the big ocean. Even it connects and comes off the mountains. The water never goes up the creek, like it never goes upwards. It always has a gravity coming down and manifests itself again over the peaks in a form of the snow, of the form of the rains, of the form of the fog. Especially we who are in Northern California, I love when the fog rolls in, just to have that notion of water element. The other thing is that water also represents and talks about flexibility. If you have a square dish, it's going to become square. If it becomes round, it's round. But in an overall way, the flexibility is the key as well that we embodying from the last year. Last year, when we had the water kind of direct element was water chi that's represented through the metal rat. Then now we transitioning from the year of 2020 to 21 with this enormous lesson of being flexible and adaptable to something that we are resetting a new tradition, resetting a new opportunities for our families, for our like kind of, we become the ancestry at some point in life. We can be an ancestry also during this lifetime. So ancestry is not something very far. This is something what we repeat. This is something that we custom, like our traditions is ancestry. So that's a little. Speaking of the lucky days for upcoming month, May, today is the May 5th, and happy Cinco de Mayo. We had Latvian independence, reclaimed independence yesterday on May 4th. So it was very exciting. So the same greetings I'm sending to you. So lucky days in May are the 3rd, the 4th, the 5th, the 6th. So this particular week is amazing. If you do have, this is no time to slow down or to hold back. This is a time to really be more, not aggressive, but intentionally precise and determined. So it does bring a lot of success. It's almost like when you have you're initiating planting a seed, right? You're creating, you have prepared the earth, you prepare the bread, you have your opportunities, right, really crystallized, because I hope that was the months for the January and February and March, to almost like be in that transitional state, in a dream state, and kind of manifesting things and thinking about what you intend. So this month is a month of a dragon. We can transition into the month of the snake. So April, May transition, extremely important. That brings the success, not only to this particular year, but also to the year of the 2024. So be very mindful about short-term and long-term goals. So you can take either this particular slide, it's going to be shared in a follow-up, but if you like to write it down, these dates, please feel free. The upcoming May 15th and 27th, I would like you to kind of put into the calendar as a days do nothing. This is more like for cultivating as more spiritual cultivation. You can, of course, you can gather with a family and do things, but it's not particularly recommended day to be involved in strenuous work or signing contracts and, groundbreaking. That's more contemplating and holding back day. If you can make it kind of your day off, but it's not the day when you do the laundry and do all the other household work. Is just be mindful. This is a day for you to retreat. This is a day when you can consult your oracle or angel cards, or have your walk in the nature. That's a day you may set up the candle and do the extra long meditation. So that type of day to use, the 15th and 27th. Last time I did not share it with you, but if anyone still needs to know their birth animal by hour, so this is the correlation. So if you know your birth hour and don't want to share it with me, then feel free to take a peek. And why this is important, we know the lot of external characteristics do correlate to how we bring ourselves in public, right? How the outside world recognizes us, or how we allow to be perceived to the outside world. The hours are your inner self. And what's important is to read and connect to your birth hour animal and understand certain qualities, which you know at heart. And of course, there is yes, Deborah, go ahead.
I've always not understood. Is this like when you're born, what the hour is in that time zone?
Yes.
So
Yeah.
it doesn't, I don't need to like translate that I was born on the East Coast and
no. The only time I'm only time when I do the charts, when I create and work with the clients, I look if when they're born, if it's the summertime, I look for the time, like what's it called? The time, summertime, like time saving.
Yeah.
So then I look at the transitions, if that was impacted or not, and we're trying to keep then like not the artificial time. We're trying to keep the
So
main.
it doesn't matter time zone. Okay.
No.
Okay.
I hope I answered. Yeah.
Yes.
So this is almost like your kind of the way to accept ourselves. And as you know, we can be born at the same, with the same like classmates, with same year, but somehow our path and our decision making, even while we are among the same age group, is different. In my practice and experience, more and more profound is the hour and a day master, how it really gets me personally becoming who I am today. And it is based on a decision making. The other thing is when we talk about the destiny, when we talk about the opportunities in this lifetime, we hold the destiny. We are the ones. Even the destiny is predisposed and maybe arrived in we call the heavens, but in a by nature, we are the destiny. So when we do use the chart readings, and those who have worked with me before, it's not a fortune teller and predicting things. It's identifying the opportunities that you have in the present moment. And it's also is identify somebody, Donna, Irene, mute. It's also it's very important to, what I was going to say, identify the opportunities. Yeah, it's going to come back to me. Well, anyway, go for next one. I hope there's no questions here. So I did a presentation for International Feng Shui Association last Friday, and specifically, my task was about form school Feng Shui. But I would like to just bring your awareness is what's different? What is the main difference between Western school and classical Feng Shui? So what I represent is a classical Feng Shui school. The biggest difference is that it's classical Feng Shui is intellectual. It's based on data. It's based on analyzing the site, analyzing the larger, like a macrocosm, like analyzing the land forms, etc., reading the compass reading, taking the compass reading, investigating, looking at persons or people who are living, looking at their charts, astrology, their capacity. So we do also greatly observe what are the forms and what are we focusing on, what are the landforms exist in the existing environment. It's definitely, those who know me, it's not really it's non-product based industry, right? Where Western school always do present, you can cure this or cure that. So when you have connection to land, when you have a connection to your intentions, when you have your internal and external layout all set and connected inside out, then you establishing the energy flow. And that energy flow is that dominates your experience. And one thing I want to add is when we have no people in the house, or when we have no people, there's no feng shui. Just remember that. If there's a house that's been empty for like 5 years, and I have the client in Saratoga, they purchased a house that was vacant for 5 years. It takes a lot of human chi to reset the feeling of the, arrival to being in the home. It takes like extra effort. So be mindful about that. Also, when you're moving and occupying a new place, always investigate and ask who lived there before, what was their experience before. So even before feng shui, kind of look at the history, of the dwelling, and see what are the patterns. Does the house has a patterns or not? And that could be applied to any, either even to the region, to the countries, to the cities, etc. So it's not only to the individual house. So yeah, and this is basically what's always we're looking at the human chi, your physical environment, and how timely it is. The other aspect we talk about associative thinking. So in classical Feng Shui, what we're looking at how we can relate to the land. And sometimes, like this example itself, many of you know me by loving the moon gate, right? Or always they talk about moon gate. On my trip to China in 2019, I remember I was taking off from San Francisco, and as you know, it's called the Golden Gate, Golden Gate State. And on that particular flight, everything was in Chinese on the maps, like when you have your small screen as you're in an airplane, and it's totally kind of just the one blink on the character when they wrote it out, the Golden Gate State. I saw the character of the Moon Gate. You can see, if you see in my slide at the very above the picture of the Golden Gate, you see the character of the Moon Gate. That's the character of the Moon Gate in its writing. And when we visit the San Francisco, and you go to San Francisco, and you start looking at the pillars and how they built those two pillars of the Golden Gate Bridge, resonate with the actual calligraphy. The other thing is, like, again, just for my birthday, the day after, I went to San Francisco and visited my friends, and we took some images and take the compass reading. The Golden Gate Bridge is right in alignment, north-south, just between, it fluctuates maybe between 0 to 5 degrees, but the main pivot, the main line alignment is in that exact compass needle, north-south, and it's in red. So sometimes I wonder, don't you think, why the Silicon Valley is successful? It does. It matters a lot. A lot of things shifted also when you start building the bridges between the land and kind of containing the energy in those areas. Those who've been with me are like this slide I talk about China. I hope you can recognize when we look about when we think about associative thinking, we can look at the forms and we can look at the shapes, and hopefully most of you could answer what do you see? Do you see a rooster? Do you see a chicken? Do you see, the character of the China? And a quick joke I always share. Why do you think China will never give up Tibet? Where's the golden egg for chicken?
Oh.
So keep that. So. All right, and speaking of our, speaking of the Silicon Valley, and all that, so there's a kind of air image as well that you can look at especially those who are in Bay Area and California. That's what we do. That's what I do. I do study the land before even coming to anyone's house. I look where we're at. I look what the forms we create, and create associative thinking with that. And of course, depends for Silicon Valley. Always ask, why the Silicon Valley is successful. What are the premises, what are the main points, what generates the chi? And historically, you see the carvings from the Northeast and Southwest, all the the mountains, the way it's enclosed and kind of holds the area. It could be like two dragon mouth, like, you know, two dragons, and then the bridges are built, the Bay Bridge, and are built just to keep the dragon's mouth open. So there's a lot of different ways of looking at it. But the Golden Gate Bridge is right up in a north-south direction. It's right in a very, like a tip of the area where the very prevailing northwest, you know, colder breeze and winds and everything else, it's kind of really becomes a true gate from that direction. I highly recommend, if you have a chance, to go to there is a labyrinth nearby the Golden Park, to walk the labyrinth, to go on a trail and be on the left side of the bridge, which has been settled for quite a while. And significance of that is, if maybe for Mother's Day, somebody wants to make a nice hike and a trip, what it allows us to do is anything that, let's say, if there's even negative, would be ascending or coming from the direction of north or northwest before the bridge, it's get purified and blessed through this, maybe this walk, the labyrinth that the landforms to. So just sharing, just having fun. I was sharing some examples, and that's what I love to do. Is like you know, I was working with a couple of years ago with a group called Centon, successful company, and they called me to do the Feng Shui, and basic was to find out, you know, what they can improve. And again, using, even before going in more in details about their structure, etc., something was very obvious. Obvious was the aspect of the main entrance. So they did have at the main entrance, they have before I put that big S on the top image that you see, in the corner they have a reception with the fish tank and just a table of you know, they tried to improve the Feng Shui in the company, where the more practical approach would have been to have you know, always welcoming, open, and clearly identifying where have I arrived. So that was missing. And the doors, you almost felt like a trap. The main door to the, after you enter the whole, this kind of lobby area where there's nobody, the other big door you have actually don't know. Does anybody know that I entered? So it's, so we did quite a bit of changes, and the company is doing much better. But just want to bring you some awareness to it. What you can do is, that's a kitchen, the kitchenette. I always care about people, because when the people and our employees are well, then everything else is good. And so this was their kitchenette before, and I just, with a simple poster on behind, that's what you can modify and create, you know, more appealing, you know, more like a juicy, appealing, you know, it's initiating the taste of taking a break, right? Or taking a healthy snack. It's examples of the break room. And the biggest problem that when we considered was, again, teaching about the correlating thinking is knowing that their kind of their fortune, or like good Feng Shui stars, good Feng Shui energy was part of their labs. And that was there was out of order. And to, again, bringing this some assessment or correlating to why was that, is thinking about when your guts are not, when your spleen, when your guts, when your digestion is actually not producing, we're not flowing, when you are bloated, or when you are like not, you know, not feeling good. So this is kind of, I was explaining to the company that this is what happens. This is what I see. The top right image is how was the lab before, okay? And on the left side, that's what I envision should be. And just explaining the, you know, why there is a stagnation, why the company is kind of, you know, spiking up, and then kind of, nothing happens, spiking up, nothing happens. So, and always correlating to heaven and earth. And there's some more examples. I'm just looking at the time. We have time. Any questions so far? So this particular client case, if you see on the very bottom, so I came to several years ago. It was just a studio apartment, and it's all white. And when you do rent for a couple of years, I highly recommend to adding the colors, accent colors in the space. And what this story relates to, we had they had a feng shui practitioner before me that left behind the trace of a red duct tape and the red kettle, and that was the only adjustment they recommended. And again, I correlate to kind of a gadget thing, where with the same amount of, just really two different types of paint and creating the layout, we managed to reset my client who was going through divorce, who was really needed to start like having a new beginnings. And I think we achieved it. I had a lot of reviews and a lot of follow-up with afterwards. And again, in the rooms, in a simple way, also creating the focal point. Like when in an apartment, when you only have a balcony, like you see her living space with the dark background wall and the open tree, the large art piece that allows to create, welcoming thing that's like, I'm coming home, but I'm not trapped in a place. I can still connect to the nature. And so this is one more example that I shared, is the BioReset Medical, the local company. We did tremendous work and started with a less than a 2,000 square foot analysis of very complex floor plan. The company expanded just in the last year and a half, expanded like triple their size. There's 7,000 square feet, and now also expanding nationwide and potentially also actually expanding also worldwide. And bringing the concept of the moon gate, like in this example, since this is the area when I worked with a client whose patients were really coming for help. That's like kind of last place to get supported. And in the very, very kind of strange floor plan, I needed to have a transitional area. It's almost like a heaven and earth, right? When you go through after checking in, after having consultations with the doctors and coming to this space, that creating the hope and starting the procedures. So this particular moon gate, that's when we expanded the offices, we had to take this wall down. So instead of just having an ordinary square door, I suggested we do the moon gate and giving this like kind of heavenly, representing the heavenly chi, heavenly energy to coming through. So yeah, this is something about feng shui. Maybe you have some questions, and I'll try to. Gosh, I can't find my mouth. So, speaking of, any questions so far? So you can unmute if you have questions. You can unmute. If there's no questions, then also would like to share something that another project that I'm doing this particular year is, which has started very, very successfully. I was running the, running the kind of fundraising, or like giving my proceeds of my consultations towards the building the school in Bhutan. And those who follow me on my Facebook, it's amazing progress. I'm using this particular time frame, especially these next 3 months of the summer, to finish the school that we call the little monks, the Buddhist monks, that there's an age range between age 6 to age 13, with the 3 principles. They will be able to finish the buildings and be under the kind of, having a proper shelter for overwinter. It's a very, very rural area, very, very far, and all they do is a traditional way of cultivating the old school, the Nyingma Buddhist school. So please follow. I will share the images. I think on the newsletter you already had a few, and I'll put together the more kind of storytelling about them. So it's been a very exciting project. If anyone is interested to support, please contact me. All the proceeds, if you're interested to really support, any little bit is super, super helpful to them. I can see what I had. Speaking of going back to the current, as you know, we follow every year, we have 24 chi nodes based on the seasons. And today is the beginning of the third lunar, not the third lunar, it's a part of the third lunar month, but is a chi node called as summer begins. So this chi node itself, it is about planting the seed, planting the and giving the lot of promise, and our intention is like, maximizing our intention, because if we want to have the harvest in the fall, it really depends how we plant and how we cultivate. So this particular month,
I was thinking about dinner. I didn't realize you were up.
Oops, somebody, let's mute. Okay. Sorry about that. So yeah, so maybe when you're revisiting your schedules and your intent, I would highly recommend to intensify the time that you work on yourselves, this particular May, June, at least the first part of the June. And I highly recommend to take like a leisure kind of longer break, end of June, July. I'm going to be doing the same. I'm going to be traveling to Latvia. I'm going to be continue consulting all the Zoom calls, etc. But just by kind of over exaggerate what you need to get done, try to be productive during the month of May. So that's because towards the end of June, July, we're going to be a little bit more in depleted state energetically. It's in opposition. The month of a goat or sheep is opposite to ox year. And you might feel the like kind of partial pivot or partial kind of stagnation, or maybe also we don't want to also rise out of the shock that the summer is over and then it's like, then what? So all the initiative aspect of your practical sense of doing things, implementing, it's very, very important to take advantage of the month of May. So stay active, stay determined, pace yourself, but there's a lot of good days during the month of May.